Hi, Radio Pride listeners. Welcome to the podcast today. This is a part three of a four-part series where I'm going to cover some key insights from the book I just recently launched called Wealth Beyond the Numbers, something I'm super proud of. If you haven't listened to the first two episodes, I highly encourage you to do so. It gives you a foundational understanding of what this book is about. But really, it was meant to help people and empower people really to find that abundance and wealth in their own lives, not just in their bank accounts and financial accounts. So this is really something it's really near and dear to my heart. So in today's episode, it's focused on a very basic topic of freedom, securing freedom, ultimate freedom in life. And then we had episodes on this before with Gary Pinkerton, really great topics, and discuss how we can do that. And it's tied to the first part of the book of Wealth Beyond the Numbers, which is owning the response, taking accountability. In our lives, if we don't take accountability for the direction of it, how we spend our days, it's going to be very difficult to have freedom in our lives, right? So it's just a foundational piece that helps us build that freedom and control of our lives. And nothing sort of epitomizes that more to me than a few different books I've read over the course of my life. One being The Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl. If you haven't read this, I highly encourage you. Some of it is very difficult to read as it chronicles his life in concentration camps, back in Nazi concentration camps. So awful treatment, obviously, some of those stories are just really difficult to absorb. But the most amazing part is his ability to sort of see the bigger picture of what's going on there and try to zone out any of those negative things that are going on and try to find meaning of what's there, right? How to be good to your fellow people and see things in a different light and perspective than what on the surface looks like. And it's tough sometimes, right? We're all challenged with things in life, and we can feel like we're just so lucky and put in difficult positions, and that is going to happen. But the freedom that comes with being able to take a whatever given situation in life and sort of put your own perspective on it, so you can see what it can mean for you and what good you can make of it is so empowering. It just, to me, it always makes you feel like, you're on top of the world and you're a superpower, right? And regardless of how bad things get, you can be better. And, they have to, you have sometimes some pep talks to themselves. I do it for myself, but it's just amazing what people go through in life and how they can still rise above it. It's just all inspiring to me. And that kind of leads me to the other book that's always been attractive to me and just kind of lines up the way I think is The Obstacles Away by Ryan Holiday. And similar nature, it's taking the man's point that challenges will come. We can control them all the time. We can plan as much as we want, but things are going to come that we didn't expect or want for sure. And trying to take those obstacles in a more logical fashion, even though we're emotional beings, we all face them, but taking the time and respecting the emotion, but then looking at a given challenge and saying, now what do I do with it? How's this impacting me? What can we do to move forward around it and combat it? And knowing that challenges, the more we tackle, the more that come down the road, whether that's in life with our work, businesses, our relationships with our family, that the more we tackle, the more the challenges get bigger and more meatier and more difficult. But building that strength to say, you know what, I have the ability and mindset to tackle anything and recognize that's just part of the journey. And life is meant to have those. I mean, we didn't have challenges in our lives. Frankly, life would be probably pretty boring. And unfortunately for many people, maybe they don't take those challenges on, and their lives will likely lead to less fulfillment. And so putting those challenges in perspective and treating them for what they are and recognize they're going to build us up to be bigger, better as we grow and learn. And really something that drives me on a daily basis to become better, right? We're on this life for as long as we're allowed to. And so it's fun to think about how much better we can get. What is our potential and how can we get closer to that each and every day we're here and to take those things and don't take those things for granted for sure. So the other piece of this too around freedom is really about our time, right? Our time is our scarcest resource that we own and it keeps on ticking away. I think of it like a shot clock of a basketball game, and we just don't know when it will end. This could be my last day. If you hear those sorts of thoughts around live today like it's your last day, and yes, I appreciate that. And I'm also a long range thinker, so that always sort of is fun to sort of wrestle with. But each day is a blessing, and I'm grateful for each and every day. And so trying to utilize those minutes and hours of each day is optimally as you can is so important. And we can easily fall prey to the laziness I do too, and waste some time and don't get to the things that I want to get to or need to get to. And so that's where some of these some tactics are useful, right? One of the things that I have grown to use now and it's become a habit for me and it's been helpful is, just on Sunday, some days obviously for most people quieter days and maybe some time for rest and certainly maybe working out, but hopefully you have a little bit more time, but take Sunday evening and bring the week out. What are those key priorities in your life that you've identified as important? And what are those big priorities you want to tackle that week? And kind of just think through that and just get it on paper. And, and it doesn't have to be everything, but the core things you want to get done, because those are the things that matter most to you. They're your big goals, whether it be personally and professionally, health-wise, all those things matter, and get them down and then find time to schedule them. Because once you get them down, you can look at them daily and see just for that week, take them in a weekly time frame and plan it out. And then start using that to plan each and every day of the week of what are the big things. I call them rocks or priorities that you want to tackle and get those down, because then you can really hyper focus on them and tackle them and get some sort of productivity gains in a given week. So another thing which I think is difficult for especially overachieving people is to actually say no to things, and especially when we think about work and life, like we just want to do everything. And I don't know about you, but I sometimes have trouble saying no because I just want to do more. I just have more energy to do it. And I've come to realize that, saying no is a good thing because it's respectful for the others that maybe you're trying to do things for other people or groups that maybe you can't give all you can give. And it helps you to really focus on those key priorities that we talked about in the Sunday planning session, to really make sure you have the time and energy to focus on those things and be respectful to yourself that, you also need time for yourself to relax and recharge and take care of yourself, whether through working out or just taking a walk or whatever the case is. You deserve to treat yourself to those sorts of things, but that means you may have to say no to other things. And the last thing on this, I would say is perhaps, again, not only just Sunday planning for the week, but the thinking in increments of 90 days or 12 weeks to take chunks. It's difficult when you get into the grind of things that it's hard to think a year in advance or multi-years in advance. It just seems like so far away and almost unachievable, but taking chunks of time, say 12 weeks or 90 days, and sort of figuring out what are the big things you want to get done that moves you closer to the goals you want to achieve in life, and take them in big chunks instead of trying to plan really long term, which can be difficult. But keep on moving the ball forward and inching forward and prioritizing the things that matter most to you will help you progress and give you that freedom to feel like you're moving along here in the way that you want to. So let me shift gears down. Think about it from a financial perspective, right? We think about freedom. I mean, most people are thinking about financial freedom. And, when we take the cue from, say, resources, right? We, just like in our financial life, time is our scarcest resource, but we also have limited resources to manage in our financial accounts, bank accounts or investment accounts. And we have to be mindful of those. And so having a watchful eye of where your dollars are going, really it's about cash flow and management and understanding where money potentially is being lost. And I affectionately call these things like hidden wealth eroders. They're eroding wealth in some ways that we don't see. Sometimes they're explicit, sometimes they're not. Things like they're explicit are taxes, right? You get taxes taken out before you get your paycheck if you're a W-2 employee. Before anyone else gets it, the IRS wants a little bit. And so all those dollars that we pay in taxes, in my mind, they are payable to a loss because they leave your world and they can't produce for you, right? And create income and capital for you going forward. So those are losses and eroding wealth. So finding ways, create ways that, there's episodes I've done on this that touch on how you can keep more of your wealth by just following what the IRS wants us to do, the government wants us to do, and they give us tax breaks for it. One other big area I think people maybe underestimate are fees. There's fees tied to anything from our accounts, to our investment accounts, or 401k accounts, whatever. And, even a 1% fee over a course of say 20, 30 years can erode a significant portion of your assets that can't build because each of the fees are going somewhere else and can't be used for you. And the one not most underrepresented loss or wealth eroder is this concept of opportunity cost. And this is an economic term, but in reality, what it really means is that because your dollar is being used somewhere else, there's a cost of not deploying it somewhere at better use. And say, take for instance, money that's sitting in a bank account and earning next to nothing on interest. Yes, it's liquid, but it's not really providing much and they can't even keep up with inflation. Well, there's a big opportunity cost with those dollars because they are not producing at their optimal level. And so those dollars can add up to significant wealth for people that, sometimes are often hard to identify and hard to quantify. And this is where how people do that. So you can see really what the magnitude of some of the choices you make that are maybe eroding wealth it's somewhat invisible for people. And it's good to at least be aware of them so and can take action on improving that or finding an alternative. And the other side of this in terms of a freedom and financial freedom is creating multiple streams of income. In our world of our finance, we're often taught to just accumulate. We're in a mode of accumulating your 401k and then you use it when you're 59 and a half. Accumulate that much money in your house, right? Pay that down fast. And we're in accumulation mode. But the reality is most financial institutions are playing the opposite. They're getting money moving and trying to create additional income streams to support the business. And that's the way we should be thinking about our wealth as well. We shouldn't have to wait till we're later in life to create income streams. Why not use our assets and capital, at least for some of it, to create income streams now? And you'll see some stats on this as most millionaires are, if you have, a lot of different income streams, closer to, I think that's all 8 to 10 income streams coming in. Outside of just their businesses and jobs. So they recognize the importance of that and creating assets that produce income. And so there is an episode I did, episode 3, Cash Flow is King, is to help you open up your mind to possibilities of how you can create additional income streams. And how does that create freedom? Well, a lot of it goes into using income to replace maybe even your job if you don't want to, or supplement it, or gives you time if you want to switch gears and go to start a business, right? Having income streams that can still support your family in the way you want to, and gives you opportunities to actually pursue something you're really passionate about. So having additional income streams other than having to rely on a job, because what we do know is a lot of people are not happy with their jobs and they feel stuck there, but it is a means to an end and there's nothing wrong with it. But if they had their choice, the freedom of choice, maybe they would want to do something else. And one way to help that along is to create additional income streams that will work for you. You might spend a little time on it, not as much as your job, but come through passively in a way that can support, your basic expenses so you can really pursue the things that you care about and spend time with family if you want. And that to me is ultimate freedom, to have that choice to do what you want to do on a daily basis and create wealth, not just in those bank accounts or investment accounts, but in life, right? Freedom to choose how you spend your days with the types of people that bring you sort of passion and energy, right? Be around the right types of people that, are just more fulfilling with the family, friends, or business associates and pursue areas of life. You may be deferring till later in life, like travel or whatever. So it just gives you much more freedom that you have that, that the financial piece sort of a little bit more solidified and could replace even what you're doing on a daily basis. So that's where I am with this episode. I mean, financial freedom and freedom in life is such a key component to fulfillment. I think most people want that in their lives. They want to control their destiny of where they're going and what they get to do and how they get to do it, right? That's a very empowering feeling to have that. And this can be done. It takes some effort, right? Being responsible and taking some steps to, focus your attention on things that matter most. And certainly from a financial arm, trying to build a structure and create some habits that keep more of your wealth and then have it moving and creating income for you is so key. So I hope this episode was helpful. I know there's a lot in here. Certainly, I would highly encourage you if these things resonate to go grab my book, the Wealth Beyond the Numbers. You can get it on my website and purchase there. I think it'd be really valuable each time just to learn some of it. It may not all fit in your life, but a lot of it could be really helpful as you gain more traction and freedom in your life and hopefully empower you to continue to move forward and improve and reach your own personal potential in life and gain the freedom that you truly want. So we'll see you on the next episode of the Perennial Pride Podcast. Thanks for joining me on this episode today. I really am grateful for you as listeners to the Perennial Pride Podcast. I hope you're getting some tremendous value out of it and hopefully pushing you along your journey to financial freedom. I put this podcast together really to help you get more educated around your finances so that you feel empowered to live the life that you really want. And if you like the content that you heard today or watched, then I would encourage you to go to my website, perennialpride.com. There's tons of other content there. And you can access my book, Wealth Beyond the Numbers. You can buy it there on my website. It's a aggregation of a lot of great tips and tools I've learned to not only build my wealth in my accounts, but build wealth in my life and abundance and joy, and something that has a lot of my experiences in the journey that I've been on personally. Hopefully that can be also of value to you as you sort of move forward. So thanks again for being a Perennial Pride listener, and we'll see you on the next episode.